My name is Dr. Peter Civetta. I am the director of the Office of Undergraduate Research at Northwestern University. I'm also an assistant professor of instruction in the theater department and with the Cook Family Writing Program. So my job is to work with the liaison from the Circumnavigators Club Foundation to find and support one scholar a year for the last 10 or 15 years. So my job is to run the grant program from the Northwestern side. So what I do is I offer advising for the students because we assume they have no idea how to put together an independent trip around the world that's based on research. So I work with students on how to do that. How do you take these big ideas and turn that into something that you could actually do? And then I put together a faculty review committee. So all of the applications go to them, and this faculty review committee selects 3 finalists, and those finalists are then interviewed by the Circumnavigators Club Foundation, and they select the winner. So it's this beautiful kind of like team approach that they both work. I work on both ends of it, but I'm not a voting member of either body by design, right? So my job is to help support the students and help the students to put their best foot forward, and then let the decision making to the people who will be less biased than I would be because I will have worked with all the students. So it's one of the things that's happened over the past few years is that I think it actually started the first year that I was in this role, which was 2010 with Macy Ng, is that she intentionally was creating a project that would become her senior thesis. And that has become very, very popular. You know, on a pragmatic level, if you're gonna write a 50-page paper, you might as well like do something big with it. So it kind of created this opportunity with the circumnavigator requirement and then the kind of culmination of their educational experience at Northwestern to really fuse those two. And so the majority of students from that point forward have used it for their thesis, which is really amazing because what it allows the trip is amazing in and of itself. I mean, they get to travel around the world, they get to meet all these people, engage with all these cultures. But when you think about it within the context of their entire academic experience at school, right, to be able to take everything that they've been working for and trying to crystallize that into a culminating experience, and through the trip, allowing that to have such tremendous depth is just a wonderful partnership. In 2019, we selected Christopher LeMountain to be our scholar. And he is what's called a dual degree student at Northwestern. So what that means is that he is getting 2 undergraduate degrees, not double majoring, but actually getting 2 different bachelor's degrees from 2 different schools. He's getting a bachelor's of music in choral performance from the Beanan School of Music, which is a conservatory school. And he was getting a Bachelor of Arts in religious studies from the Weinberg School of Arts and Sciences. And so for him, he had this experience of having a really bifurcated experience in college. He had his music world and he had his religious studies and his academic world. And what his project allowed him to do was fuse the 2 together. He was very interested. He had visited a Baha'i temple, which is just north of campus here in Evanston. And what he was really struck by was the choral singing that took place. And in the Baha'i faith, it's an amalgamation of all the experiences, cultural experiences of people from around the world. So he was very struck by how their music was reflecting this. And there's only, I believe, 7 continental temples around the world. And so his circumnavigation with an assist from a different program that I run allowed him to go to all of them and to talk to all of the music directors. And I believe in many cases, he was able to sing in those spaces. So he was able to talk about the religious implications with the actual music that he was doing and learning about. And that enabled him to write a senior thesis that fused his 2 different worlds together in a way that was very, very meaningful for him. Yeah, so, the trip changes their life. There's no two ways about it. I mean, that you go on a trip when you're 20 years old around the world by yourself and you experience so much of the world and you interact with so many people, you come back changed. And they really reflect that change in the community. So they're required to work with me and the Circumnavigators Club in helping the next person, right? So helping them with their application, or giving their wisdom about the trip and planning the trip and stuff like that. And they all take that very, very seriously because of the impact of the trip. They want to help them build. They're very, very intentional about whatever holes they may have fallen through, making sure to point that out to the new person so they don't fall into that. And, granted, the world's a really complex, hard place. Everyone's going to fall into a hole when you travel around the world, but they don't want them to fall through the same hole. And so there's a great camaraderie and a great support. And, so my office funds 500 or 600 students a year, right? So we only fund one through this program. But because of the advocacy of the students and the high profile of getting this grant that travels around the world, it actually becomes a big selling point. I know that the admissions tours of Northwestern regularly reference the Circumnavigators grant, because a bunch of people have applied over the years and been compelled. So it really kind of helps to kind of spread. What we're trying to do is promote undergraduate research broadly. And the Circumnavigator grant has this wonderful ripple effect, because you're going to transform one person's life for sure. But because of the passion they come back with, and because of this wonderful opportunity, it really spreads throughout our ability to communicate the value of this more broadly. What I do know from having conversations with them is that because the trip changes their life, it positively impacts them, whether they're applying for jobs or whether they're applying for graduate school, because of this increased and heightened experience that they've had. That the ability, I mean, all graduate programs can have their pick of smart people, right? Smart people are all over the place, but smart people with depth and heart and empathy and experience, that's what makes more compelling. And of course, that is exactly what the Circumnavigator grant experience offers, right? They come back changed and with a depth and a perspective that you just can't get any other way. So it has a really positive impact in whatever path they go through. Undergraduate research can be an abstract concept for undergraduate students. So they don't necessarily, unless I know that I'm going into a career in chemistry, right? Or I know I'm pre-med, like I might not know why research would be an important thing or how I would do it. But they all know that a trip around the world sounds freaking awesome, particularly when someone else is paying for it. So it gives us the ability to kind of dangle this beautiful, shiny object, and everyone goes, wow, that's really great. And we go, yep, it is great. And for one person that wins, transforms their life. But for everyone else, now they're in this room and they see all the potential and the possibilities that can come from getting involved in research. So it's a wonderful kind of lure, because it's such an amazing experience. One of the things that we're very proud of here is the collaboration between the Northwestern Review Committee, the Circumnavigators Review Committee, and my office to, obviously one person gets funded, they have a tremendous time. But what we work very hard on is the other people that apply, right? If they don't get the grant, we give them feedback from the review committees, from both of them if they interviewed, in order to help them potentially turn that project into something else that could get funded. So we've got a great track record of funding people who didn't win with some of our other programs. And I can't send them around the world, but I can send them to a couple of countries where they can do a more focused case study about that. So, they put this tremendous effort into this application. It's the hardest application I've ever seen. To plan an entire trip around the world when you're, 19 or 20. So we don't want that to be lost. And it's been, I know some students have had some really tremendous experiences through the circumnavigators process to allow them to pursue other things as well. What's amazing about this grant is that not just the travel, but the way that you're traveling focused on what is important to you, right? There's a lot of problems in the world. What problem do you want to focus on where you could potentially make a difference and make a difference in a much broader context than you could otherwise? That's what the genius of this grant is that it marries this incredible value of travel with the student's own passions in order to create something that could have an impact. One of the things I always have to talk through is the disconnect in some ways between the two review processes, right? I say when you're going through Northwestern, right, that's a bunch of faculty and they care about faculty things and they're like, okay, don't claim too much big, like make sure you can do it, like it has to be real and concrete. And I say, then you go to the Circumnavigator Club and they want you to change the world because they're trying to fund one person, they want that person to have an impact, right? And so fusing that, being able to be aspirational, to really have an impact in the world, but also have your feet on the ground in a way that you can actually do it. So it's not just kind of fluffy and, oh, I'm just going to talk to people, but really in a compelling way to have a firm foundation, but still reaching for the stars. That's what this grant offers. And that's why it's so exciting.